Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at some very fun battles in the Great League featuring the Triple Frog theme team. This team features a Poison Jab Toxicroak on the lead, Politoed as the save switch, and Greninja as the closer. Now this is definitely not a team I would recommend if you're looking to climb rank, but I was able to get some very fun wins with it. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out the Triple Frog theme team in action in the Great League. Great lead in the first match, Toxicroak into Victory Bell, and with Poison Jab, it makes this lead even better. They're actually staying in, which means they're hopefully weak to Toxicroak somewhere in the back as well. I'm going to farm up and fire off the Mud Bomb just before they're able to reach a Leaf Blade. Mud Bomb is going to be able to get the shield. They're going to fire off a last second charge move, and I'm going to shield up and then just farm them down. They go for the Acid Spray, but I'm able to leave on very low HP with a charge move loaded. They bring in a Azumarill, and I'm going straight for the Sludge Bomb. Azumarill is definitely a bad Pokemon for my backline to see because I don't have Earthquake on Politoed. So I am going to bring in Politoed here, but by no means is this a comfortable matchup because they're able to hit for neutral damage with the Play Rough, whereas I'm only able to hit for resisted Weather Balls. At the very least, I'm just going to try and spam out a bunch of Weather Balls to try and get this Azumarill into a range where the Greninja up a shield will be able to handle it. So I'm just going to fire off Weather Ball after Weather Ball after Weather Ball. They're going to fire off another Play Rough. I should barely be able to tank this. It is almost going to be able to take me out. I'm going to fire off one last move, and then it is Greninja time. In comes Greninja, and this Azumarill is not in a range where I can take it out with any charge move. So I'm going to fire off the Night Slash, hoping for the boost. Night Slash lands, we get the boost, and now we are in business. I'm going to be shielding up whatever they throw. They go for the Ice Beam. I can massively overfarm with the Greninja, farming up to the back-to-back Night Slashes. This will easily take out Azumarill. We have a boosted Greninja versus whatever's in back, and it's a Bastiodon. Bastiodon does not like Surfs, but how about an attack-boosted Surf? That does over half of their health. We reach a second one, and that will be game over. Greninja taking care of the Bastiodon, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Toxicroak into Shadow Swampert, a terrible lead. I safe switch into Politoed, and the Shadow Swampert is staying in. I'm going to farm up and then go for the Weather Ball just before they're able to reach the Earthquake. Weather Ball able to land. I go for the second, but I do lose CMP. Earthquake would do massive damage, so I do shield up, and it's the Earthquake. That is huge. That uses a bunch of their energy, and that should allow me to be able to force both shields here. So I'm going to overfarm. The goal is to throw just before they reach a move, but I end up losing CMP. It was close enough to an Earthquake that I didn't want to risk it. Only ended up being a Hydro Cannon, and I'm going to be firing off another Weather Ball. That is going to be grabbing a shield, and then they end up catching onto a Galarian Stunfisk, so they are clearly incredibly weak to water in the back. I'm going to stay in here with Politoed, fire off a Weather Ball just before they're able to reach the Earthquake. They're going to be forced to throw an Earthquake to take me out here, and honestly, I'm okay with that. I'm just going to let the Politoed get taken out, and then get an energy lead on Greninja, because it appears that they're weak to water in the back. They have the Swampert. Are they going to bring it in, or do we see their third? We see their third, and it's Shadow Nidoqueen. I'm just going to farm up, because if I can get to the back-to-back moves here, then I just win this game. Poison Fang does a ton of damage. I go for the Surf, but they catch it onto the Shadow Swampert, and this is honestly not great. I'm going to have to switch into the Toxicroak and hope I can outpace. This is going to be a race. Toxicroak able to get to the Mud Bomb, and that will be game over as Mud Bomb takes down the Nidoqueen, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Toxicroak into Galarian Stunfisk. Not a great lead for me without counter, but they save switch into a Venusaur, and this is exactly what I needed them to do. My opponent obviously did not know that I didn't have counter. They switch in Venusaur, and now I have the Venusaur exactly where I need it. They're going to fire off the Frenzy Plant. I'm going to be able to tank it, go for the jab down, but I'm not able to get there. That is quite unfortunate. I thought I was going to be able to farm down. Venusaur able to leave on very low HP. In the back, they have Pelipper, and this is going to be tough. If I can land a Blizzard, it's going to do massive neutral damage, but landing it is definitely the hard part. I'm able to get a shield with the Politoed, that's huge. I go for the Blizzard, and it's a CMP tie. If they go for the Hurricane, it would KO, so I shield up, and unfortunately, I get baited. I'm gonna full send the Blizzard here. Blizzard does get shielded. That is quite unfortunate. I'm just gonna farm up with Politoed. I do live a Weather Ball here, but I am going to respect the Hurricane, and it's the Hurricane. That's huge. I farm up, go for the Blizzard. This is not going to be enough to KO, but it will get the Pelipper very low. In comes Greninja, and it's a simultaneous switch. Greninja into the Galarian Stunfisk. The downside here is that a Surf does not KO, whereas an Earthquake definitely will. I'm able to get them low, but they do have enough for the Earthquake. This is going to be taking care of the Greninja, and now it's all up to Politoed. Politoed can't farm down, and I fire off a Weather Ball on CMP. This is going to be close. Can we get to the Weather Ball versus the Pelipper? We cannot! We lose CMP to Pelipper, and we lose a heartbreakingly close game. Hopping into the next match, leading Toxicroak into another Venusaur. Very happy to catch the Venusaur on the lead here. And even better, this Venusaur is staying in. Last time I did go for the Mud Bomb in the Zero Shield, and they were actually able to tank it and reach a second move. So this time, I'm going to be going for the Sludge Bomb. I farm up quite a bit, and I full send the Sludge Bomb because this will KO if they decide to let it through, but they are going to be committing the shield. They farm up, and they're firing off another Frenzy Plant, recognizing that I'm low. I'm going to be shielding up a move, going for the Mud Bomb, but they're able to catch onto Sableye. Very nice catch there by my opponent. And now I can bring in Greninja, and a Surf will KO from this range. They recognize that fact, and they fire off the Foul Play. This is going to be resisted, but even a resisted Foul Play does a ton of damage. I'm going for the Night Slash here, getting a little greedy, but I think Night Slash will be enough to KO. It barely is not, but I'm able to bubble down. They're going to bring in Venusaur, but my Greninja has a ton of energy. I'm going to be firing off the Night Slash. Night Slash takes them out. In the back, they have a Swampert, and I'm going straight for the Surf. This will hurt if it lands, and we get the shield, and it's the Shadow Swampert as well. Greninja able to reach the last second Surf. Shadow Swampert not able to farm down. That nearly takes out the Swampert. We bring in the Politoed, make a fashionable catch onto the Toxicroak, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Toxicroak into Galarian Stunfisk. Not a great lead without counter. They're gonna save switch into Sableye. A lot of G-Fisks not checking the fast move, and that works out very nicely for me. In comes Greninja, but this is not a comfortable matchup because return would easily one-shot. So I do shield up the return, overfarm a ton, and now I have the back-to-back Surfs. Fire off the first. It gets no shielded, and they're able to reach a last-second Foul Play. That is not great. Sableye able to put in so much work against Greninja. They bring in Venusaur as their final Pokemon, so I'm very happy that I was able to win Switch, because I should be able to get off both Night Slashes against this Venusaur, and then align that Galarian Stunfisk onto my Politoed. In comes Toxicroak into the Venusaur. Venusaur is going to be firing off a Frenzy Plant, but as we've seen, Toxicroak can tank one. They bring in the G-Fisk, and I bring in Politoed. Again, we don't have Earthquake here, but the nice thing is that Weather Ball is still hitting for super effective damage, and a nice amount of damage at that. G-Fisk does have a lot of energy, but Politoed has some nice bulk to it. I'm going to be able to tank that Earthquake no problem, overfarm quite a bit, and fire off Weather Ball number 2. This will just about take out the G-Fisk. They let it go, and I think, honestly, I have to shield here. I don't want to be put in a position where I'm trying to Poison Jab down a Galarian Stunfisk. So I shield up the Politoed, build up to the back-to-back Weather Balls, and I fire it off. They're going to let it go. In comes Venusaur, and I'm firing off another Weather Ball. They decide to let it through. I bring in Toxicroak, and I go for the Poison Jab down. We get it, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, picking up a pretty rough lead, Toxicroak into Medicham. Thankfully, with Poison Jab, this lead is slightly less bad than it typically would be, just because Poison Jab adds up quite a bit on Medicham. I go straight for the Sludge Bomb, and they respect it with a shield. They easily have enough for a Psychic, but I'm feeling brave. I call the bait, and it's the Ice Punch. That's huge. They fire off another Ice Punch. This would take me out, and if possible, I do want to try and land another move. So I stay in. They go for a catch onto Registeel. I'm able to hold on to my energy, and I'm going to be firing off a Mud Bomb. Bomb. Mud Bomb is going to do some solid damage onto the Registeel, so I may as well fire off a second one. This is going to be getting the Registeel into a range where one move from Greninja will take it out, but unfortunately, they're able to reach a Focus Blast here. They actually decide to go for the Zap Cannon to debuff me, which honestly works out nicely for me. That's slightly more energy, which means I can farm up to the back-to-back Night Slashes here. I go for the first, we get the shield, and I try and click on the second, but it ended up being a CMP tie. That is quite unfortunate, as I do end up losing that move. I farm down with Politoed, and I'm going to have to rely on Politoed to try and close out this match. In the back, they have Mandibuzz. I'm farming up. They bring in Medicham, and I'm going to be firing off the Weather Ball. Weather Ball is not going to be enough to KO here. I'm going to try and overfarm as much as I can while still leaving myself enough HP to take out the Mandibuzz. I'm able to take out the Medicham. Back in comes the Mandibuzz, but I'm in a range where 2 foul plays are just about going to be enough to take me out, and that is not a great spot to be in. I bring in the Toxicroak, try and get as much Poison Jab damage as I can, but this is just not going to be enough for me to close out this match, as Blizzard, Mandibuzz able to tank it, and that will be game over. Foul play takes down the Politoed, and we lose a very close game. Great lead in the next match, Toxicroak into Obstagoon. Even without counter, this is a dominating lead. They save switch into Swampert, and I'm going to respond with Politoed. We've seen this play out. Politoed can put in a ton of work in this matchup. I'm going to shield up, and they're actually running Sludge Wave instead of Earthquake. Sludge Wave does not hit nearly as hard in this matchup, so that's definitely a nice thing for me to see. I'm going to overfarm quite a bit with Politoed, and I'm at the back-to-back Weather Balls here, so I can apply a lot of pressure onto the Swampert. Swampert commits the shield, and they're going to be firing off the Sludge Wave, but this is just not enough to KO. Politoed able to tank it, reach the back-to-back Weather Balls, and now they have a tough choice to make, because if they shield it, they get taken out, so they decide to let it go. They're going to bring in Nidoqueen, but I have a lot of energy on the Politoed. Weather Ball is going to get the shield, and then I can bring in Greninja onto the Nidoqueen. Greninja, I'm going to overfarm quite a bit and go for the Surf. I was expecting a catch. It doesn't come. We take out the Nidoqueen. In comes Toxicroak, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Toxicroak into Trevenant, and this is a massive core breaker for the team. Even with Poison Jab, this is still not a comfortable position to be in. I think my only play is just to try and call the Seed Bomb bait. It's a Shadow Ball, and I concede the match. Hopping into the final match, leading Toxicroak into Bastiodon, a great lead. Opponent safe switches into Medicham, and honestly, I'm going to stay in here because I don't have a great response to the Medicham safe switch. I build up to the Sludge Bomb, go for the bait, and I get the shield. I was able to call an Ice Punch once already, but this time I'm not feeling too lucky, so I do decide to commit the shield. I farm up, and I'm going for another Mud Bomb bait. Let's see if we can grab the second shield here. We do not, and they're going to be able to fire off another Ice Punch. I'm just going to let this go because I should be able to Poison Jab down and win switch advantage. That is quite nice. My opponent brings in Bastiodon, and I have the Mud Bomb loaded. Mud Bomb does a solid chunk. They're able to farm me down, but I have 2 water types in the back. I bring in Politoed, they have Altaria. This is going to come down to a very dangerous game of baits. I decide to go for the bait. Weather Ball gets the shield, and that should be game over. They're going to be firing off the Sky Attack, but they cannot reach a second. Politoed able to get to the Blizzard, and that's going to be good night, Mr. Altaria. Blizzard takes down the Altaria. They bring in Bastiodon, and I bring in Greninja. Bastiodon is going to fire off the Stone Edge. This will do big damage to Greninja. Greninja able to hang on and fire off the Surf. This will be getting the Bastiodon very low. It's a race. They farm us down. Politoed able to take them out. And that is a good game. All in all, I had a ton of fun with the Triple Frog theme team. I'll be honest, I've never used Poison Jab Toxicroak before. Counter is definitely the better moveset for it, but for this particular team, I needed a very strong answer to grass types, and Poison Jab did offer some unique coverage. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.